Righty, so happy Friday morning. Even though we're not officially, this is not an official day for us, I work anyway, and I suspect you all do as well. So one thing I'm going to show you today is just, and this is kind of cool, I think, and I'm not going to do this to week 0 because I want you to still have quick access, especially to this late work and this tutor schedule and joining class chat if you want. So on these weeks that you've completed, one thing you can do is click and just collapse them up, we call it. So as I come to week 5, right, we're not quite complete. And just to be clear, if you didn't hear me say this before, and I'm going to move to another tab where I have the calendar open, is that when there's a holiday, right, so there's a holiday today, and there was work due last night, and I graded. So because we have nothing due, I don't move anything for this day. But on Monday we do, right? So anytime there's a due date that falls on a holiday that falls on a due date, I move those items to the following day. Now, I notice some of you are doing a great job of working ahead, so this is definitely one of those times where, you know, if you're working ahead, it doesn't make a difference. And even if you aren't, just know that you don't have as much time until the next items are due. Okay, cool. So as I move back over and go back into our course in Canvas, just a little heads up, right? And I also notice, interestingly enough, some of you, there's various times you all check into attendance, which is fine. But the one thing, there's 2 things in week 6 that are different. CSS we're continuing now, and I think from reading your comments yesterday and what I mean by yesterday is that on the work for the HTML table, some of you were a little like CSS, we're talking about HTML, and so the setup here is your introduction. And I think some of you will enjoy CSS a little more, although many of you really seem to enjoy this coding thing, which is awesome. So, but the things that are different this week is the classwork and of course your first lab test. So I hope that either by the time you've listened to this or sometime first of next week when we get back, you will get an email in your campus email about a program called MS Imagine. And I want you to know that, because it may get a little confusing because I've talked about the program in previous classworks and assignments. But the reason you might be most interested in this MS Imagine program is if you are a Mac user and you want to, in future lab tests, use Microsoft Access. And I say that because you can get Microsoft Word for Mac or PC out of the campus email, and this is still very true. But when we get to the last item, last lab test, last application area, which is Microsoft Access, those of you on Mac are either going to have to find another place to work because Access is not available on the Mac, or you're going to have to load Windows on the Mac. And that might seem kind of a strange thing, but you can totally do it, and I have instruction for how to do that. But a key to that is getting the invite into the Microsoft MS Imagine program. Okay? So I sent off the request. That's my whole purpose of saying this. I know it's kind of a convoluted way to get there, but I sent off the request for you all to get into the MS Imagine program, which gives you, if you want it, Microsoft Windows 10, Microsoft Windows even 8, although who would want that, or 7, maybe you would. And other Microsoft higher-end software, if you're somebody that's interested in that, that's going to probably be of more importance. So look for that email coming at you soon. And if you have any questions, post them out either on Hangout Chat or to me directly. Okay, so in week 6, just to complete this, a little bit of a meandering conversation, right? I have recorded a new video here, so I don't feel like I have to go over this in a lot, but just know that the second video, and I talk about it in the first one, you don't have to watch this whole thing, although I think there's some great information in there. And I say that kind of in a tongue-in-cheek way because it is older. This is definitely a couple of semesters back, but I think the whole thing is worth it. But what you want to do is definitely pay attention here to what I've changed about this assignment. because I've changed the requirements for what you need to do. Okay, so make sure you pay attention to that. And then, so in this week is our lab test. And here's what I want you to know is that this is really helpful, this video. As a matter of fact, I think this will probably give you 90%, maybe more, of what you need to do, and it just helps you to know what it's asking for. Because sometimes when you're reading the instructions, it can be a little like, what do you guys mean by that? So, but here's the thing I want you to know is this work, like all your My IT Lab, is done in My IT Lab. And then you will submit your score just like you have all your other My IT scores into here. But what we're doing is different, which is why I had you last week watch, or in this case last night, had you watch about the lab test. But, and I noticed this, I have it 3 times. Actually, I think I've changed this to unlimited times. And I'm just going to not play that. But here's my point is that you can download, work on the assignment, upload it, and then it will give you on your view submission what you got wrong, and then you can modify the file that you've been working on locally and upload it again. So you don't have to start over. If you want to fix what it is, it tells you got wrong. Okay? So, and if I remember right, there was also possibly an issue with a cover letter on this one. And I think I didn't talk about this here, but if you will use any cover letter, you should be fine. And if it marks you off, I'll give you points back. But I believe and now that I'm looking at this, I'm remembering there was something about a cover letter when in the work itself. But like I said, just use a cover letter, provide the information requested. And a cover letter is a file, a type of template that you use to already set up some set up items. Okay, so just pay attention to that. And if you have any questions, again, a great way to ask is on chat because everybody gets the benefit of your question. Okay. So I really enjoyed reading the replies you all had to my week 4 attendance. That was really fun. I think that our week 5 attendance, because there was, it's fun to talk about, and it's everybody has a different experience of what technology is and what their level of involvement is, which is really okay. And it's not to compare anybody's level that it's better than somebody else's. So I really am enjoying my experience right now in the technology space, just because it's something I'm really into, obviously, right? Maybe not obviously, but and I enjoy all the technology, but I also find, and this is kind of what I want in your reply is, ask anything about what I've talked about here, but also, how do you manage having time when you're not, around, or do you have digital downtime? So digital downtime, I think, is really important. And you can read several articles, right, about it. Actually, these are a little older. Digital downtime is something that I consciously try to do, which is to have time in my day and time in my week that I'm not online, that I'm not connected. And sometimes it's more of a struggle than others, right? But you will notice often too that I'm not up late. Sometimes I am, especially on Wednesday nights when I teach. So I actually try to cut off at a particular time of the day. But here's my question for you. Do you consciously take digital downtime? Okay? All right, have a great week. Hope you enjoy your break if you're listening to this before you head off for the 4-day weekend. As far as our class and this part of your life goes, because some of you, I'm sure, just like me working today, because part of digital downtime or digital life is just, the flexibility of time, which is probably why we're all doing this online. All right, have a great week. I'll talk to you soon.